basically at Flipkart right now, the first stage is like where essentially your resume would get shortlisted. After the resume shortlisting, that screening phase, you generally go through one machine coding round for SD1. You go through a machine coding round, and in that machine coding round, after that machine coding round, we have a PSDS round, which is a problem solving data structures round. And post that round, we have a hiring manager round. So yeah, these are the three main rounds, but also in some of the cases, for example, if it's a campus hiring or some of the cases, there is a initial coding round also. Coding round as in like some hacker or hacker rank based round, which is before all the rounds. And but this is optional, like depends on what type of drive it is. In the first round, we have a machine coding round, which is essentially a low level design round. So what happens in the low level design round is you're given a problem. Let's say something like you have to design a book my show, or let's say Zomato or something like that. It is generally not a very huge problem. Like you don't have to design book my show or Zomato end to end. A small part of that, essentially, let's say you have to design the movie booking system. So you'll be given some functionalities. You have to code that out. Given so it's generally of 1.5 hours, where initially you have a discussion time. You go through the question, and you basically code. You share your screen. There's one interviewer who goes through the code at the end of the interview, and they run the entire code. Uh, that's what basically is. You have to implement the functionalities. You have to keep in mind that the code you write should be readable and highly maintainable. Um, Depending upon your experience, years of experience, there might also be a high level design round where you might also maybe the difficulty of the problem will gradually increase based on your experience. Post that round, there is a if you don't qualify that round, you would be cut off that loop, which we called as loop cutoff. After that interview, we have a PSDS round, which is essentially problem solving and data structures. So this round is essentially of 1 hour, and mainly generally two DS algo problems are discussed. It can even go up to three based on your performance if you're quick enough to solve them. But generally, it is a 45 to 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour round, and so yeah, though they are like simple questions, make sure to go through the question logic clearly and discuss it. So one common problem I have seen people making mistake in this round is that they jump to the solution directly. So make sure to discuss the problem and understand what are the edge cases and solve it properly. Take your entire time. Post that round, the final round is the hiring manager round. So hiring manager round, it's kind of an open-ended round. It can go up to 1.5 hour also, or it can be sorted in 1 hour also. It's essentially an open, basically we are talking with the director or let's say the manager or some high leadership level positions. And in that round, they basically judge your behavioral skills, that how confident you are, or let's say what work you have done in the past. So this round can be very open-ended. Like they can ask you simple questions about your behavior or what has been your contributions in your previous projects, previous organization. It can also go to technical side where people can ask you about, where the hiring manager can ask you about your technical let's say goes deep into one project in your resume. So make sure to add projects that you are well versed of. Don't add any projects that you have like maybe copied from the internet. Right. So make sure that's very important. Actually, I've seen a lot of people do that. So yeah, those are the few tips, and that's how I think in depth I would say or each round goes. Before preparing for the roles, I think key things to remember would be, the first thing is resume that would be shortlisted. So make sure to like as we discussed, like make sure to keep it one page and make sure to keep it crisp and concise. So once your resume is done, make sure to qualify the rounds. You basically need to have good fundamentals and good knowledge of computer science fundamentals. So essentially data structures, algorithms, Java, DBMS algorithms, stuff like that. These are like basically what we are taught at college. Just go through that, revise that very well. And apart from that, I think one of the major things that helps a lot for interviews, as I personally found, is like doing mock interviews. So if you do mock interviews, it helps in whatever problem you face in the mock interviews, you can rectify that in the real interviews. So I personally found mock interviews very useful for preparing for such roles, such any kind of interviews. Yeah, so there are many online websites for mock interviews. I mean, Preplaced is also a great place to do that. So yeah. I personally found there is one. So there are like lots of ample number of playlists on YouTube where you can go through data structure and algorithms. I personally read the book of Cracking the Coding Interview by Gail Lackman. It's a very everybody knows probably. You can just Google it. It's very famous. Like it's a concise book where you can like go through some of the problems. Apart from that, I think go through the 50. So what, for example, you're giving a interview at Flipkart or giving an interview at Amazon, just go through the past recent 50 problems that were asked in interviews. You can go through that on Geeks for Geeks. So that helps a lot. Other than that, in terms of machine coding, I think if you're good at object-oriented programming and if you go through the OOP principles, that is enough, sufficient for that. I think one of the major things I have found during the interviews, after giving so many interviews, uh, let's say one of the things is you need to be confident about what skills you have. At the end of the day, it's essentially you're selling yourself to the company. So if you are confident that you deserve to be qualified, you deserve to be hired, and you show that in your skills, in your past experience, you would be. And essentially don't take pressure, as in during the interview the other guy is not trying to reject you, he's actually trying to help you to crack that round. So I think thinking out loud while solving problems, such as like if there's a problem, I have found a lot of people like jumping. So let's say there's a given a problem of, let's say, two sum. It's a very popular problem. So uh, let's say somebody has already solved that problem, some they would like directly jump to the solution. I know the most efficient solution to this. So that's like a very negative red signal, red flag for all the hiring managers, and also can reject you. So I would say take your time, go through all these steps from the naive solution to the brute force to slowly greedy and different approaches, and slowly reach to the efficient solution. That also helps the interviewer understands your way of thinking. So make sure to convey how you're thinking about solving the problem. That's very essential. Another tip I would say, yeah, I think confidence, talking, thinking out loud, and yeah, just I think these things are fair enough. If you are skilled and if you're prepared well, you should sail through the interview.